Our nation has plenty of good things given to us by God for the benefit of His people. Ladies and gentlemen, no Kenyan should beg for food. It is not the will of God, and it's definitely not my will as your president. I continue to listen keenly to the young people of our country. Even as they plan for their peaceful protest on Tuesday this week, I am attentive to their concerns. Indeed, moments like this require a leader who will steady the ship and cut through the noise with surgical precision. I aspire to see all Kenyans gainfully employed, innovatively active, and enterprisingly aggressive. As a father of this nation, as your president, I would like to say I am sorry, and I hope all public servants, elected, appointed, or employed by my government, can follow suit and apologize for failing the young people of our country. Young people, you love your country, but does your country love you? It is a question that has lingered in my mind and provoked my thoughts. Fellow countrymen, why should our young girls be reduced to socialite bimbos for disposal use by immoral men, some of whom are foreigners in our country? Why should a young graduate, full of hopes and dreams, resort to production of pornographic content for the amusement of perverts and porn addicts on websites such as OnlyFans and StripChat? Where is the dignity of the African girl? What can we do as a nation to save our young people who are disappointed, frustrated, and depressed in the country they fell in love with? As your president, I ask myself, why should young men be unwilling to settle and marry and start families in our nation? Why are they unable to provide for themselves, let alone provide for a family? Should we sit and watch our young men seek hope in gambling? Will aviator fly their dreams? We have allowed corrupt officials, money launderers, and wash dealers to poison the minds of our youth and to make our youth believe that the only way to the top is through the shortcut. Again, I ask, is this the Kenya that we want? Since you elected me as your president, I have traveled around the world seeking foreign investment into our country to create jobs for the youth, and I have made exceptional progress. But in recent times, I have taken a break to take stock of my achievements. And I have asked myself the following questions. 1. Have we made our country attractive for investment? 2. Is our tax regime favorable for domestic industrialization? 3. Should we continue to allow foreign investors to employ foreigners to work in their projects, companies, and factories in our country? Do we have a shortage of skills? 4. How has corruption affected the ability of investors to set up and run businesses in our country? 5. What is the cost of power in our country? How can we make it cheaper and affordable for manufacturers and consumers? 6. Is financial capital accessible and affordable in our country? What incentives do we have for business loans to spur economic growth? 7. What have we done well, and how can we do it better? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the questions that have led me to make the following decisions. I have decided today to liberalize the energy market by opening it up for foreign and domestic investment. The monopoly of Kenya Power and Lighting Company KPLC has dragged our progress and obscured renewable energy efforts in our country. The Ministry of Energy and the Energy and Regulatory Authority EPRA are thus instructed to develop regulations to make the generation and distribution of power a competitive industry in our country with strict safety standards. This will increase our tax revenue and eradicate corruption cartels in the form of IPPs, independent power producers, that have held our country hostage. It will also open up our industrial sector for investment, thus creating jobs for our youth. 2. Following the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024, I have instructed the Ministry of Treasury and Economic Planning, in consultation with the Kenya Revenue Authority, to develop favorable tax measures in the new finance bill that will encourage domestic investment and entrepreneurship by the youth. This will include some tax exemptions for new businesses by the youth, which are creating employment for the youth. It will also include reduction of taxes on our electricity. 3. I understand that the central bank must control liquidity and protect our country from inflation. However, I am convinced that I have to be intentional about providing accessible capital for our youth to innovate and expand their businesses. Therefore, I'm instructing the Governor of Central Bank to convene a conference with the Kenya Bankers Association, SACCOs, cooperatives, microfinance lenders, and other players in the finance sector to develop a loan product specifically targeted towards job creation for the youth through industrialization. Every financial institution that is licensed to offer loans in our country should commit to dedicate at least 10% of their issuable finance towards this product. To reduce the risk of non-performing loans, I propose that the product should be self-securing, such as asset finance for modern machinery or stock financing. I also urge the central bank to intentionally and specifically open up our equity and venture capital sector so that our youths with world-changing ideas can get equity investment to explore their innovation and realize their dreams. 4. I am instructing the Director of Immigration to audit all work permits issued to foreigners within the last 10 years and deliver the report to my office for action. The State Department for Immigration should develop a policy that prevents foreign companies from importing labor into our country, except where required and where the skills are unavailable locally. In such a case, the investor should be required to train Kenyans within 3 years to have that skill. 5. I'm instructing the Ministry of Land and the National Land Commission to identify idle public land that can be leased to the youth of our country on favorable terms for agriculture to increase food production, alleviate poverty, and improve food security in our country. Yesterday, I met with the European Commissioner for Agriculture, Janusz Wojciechowski, and secured donor funding of up to 4 billion Kenya shillings under the Agricultural Fund for Rural Development of the European Union to support youth in Kenya who wish to earn their living through modern farming. 7. My government is considering the reduction and or complete waiver of taxes on camera and film equipment to enable our youth to develop creative content for national and international media such as TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Netflix, which has become a newfound source of income for our unemployed youth. 8. I am instructing the Director General of the Communication Authority of Kenya to work with internet service providers in our country to block all pornographic sites from the Kenyan internet space. The DCI is instructed to investigate and bring to book any pornographic film directors in Kenya taking advantage of unemployed youth to damage our social fabric. 9. I hereby instruct the Higher Education Loans Board to extend repayment periods for all student loans and waive all interest and penalties accruing thereof, specifically for unemployed youth who were funded by HELB in their higher education. 10. I encourage the Commission of University Education CUE and the Ministry of Education to review thoroughly the degree programs offered in our institutions of higher learning and match the skills with our market realities. I have also directed the National Treasury to comply with the Supreme Court ruling in Petition number 1 of 2018, which declared Constituency Development Fund CDF to be unconstitutional. The funds that were meant for CDF should be redirected towards providing free basic education and subsidize higher education for our children. This will lighten the burden on members of parliament and make them available for the urgent business of legislation and oversight. I also expect that the new Cabinet Secretary for Education will lead a team to re-examine the new university's funding model and eradicate any challenges that may make higher education more difficult than before. To protect our social development as a nation, I'm instructing the State Law Office to waive all marriage certificate charges for youths below 35 that wish to marry and start a life. As you are aware, we are having a legal hitch with our new health funding model shift, but once we overcome that hurdle, I will be proposing that young couples in Kenya be given special rates for maternity and postpartum care. Fellow Kenyans, I am committed towards solving the youth crisis in our country. It cannot happen in a day or in a week or overnight, but with sure, bold steps, we can achieve much. I will announce more measures to be undertaken by my government in furtherance of this agenda. I urge you to be patient with me as I make every effort to ensure the shared prosperity of our nation. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Asanteni sana.